Welcome back to the second video of how to use QuickBooks Online in your business. And today we're going to look at sales. First of all, with sales, though, before you can start, you'll need to have some products and services. These are set up in, again, your cogwheel and products and services. And you'll see that this company is a very busy little company. Now, how to do that is you go new and you'll decide whether it's an inventory, non-inventory, a service, or you can have a bundle of both this inventory, non-inventory and service. We'll go service, and in this little company we might decide that they're going to do some, I know that they have an entertaining one, but we'll put in, maybe we'll just call it events. And yes, I sell this to customers, and we can put it so that it comes out on there. And you can also put a rate. You will also want to choose an income account to put it to. So in this case, we might say, because it's events, we'll say services, and we'll say, yes, we're going to charge GST. Of course, if you're not GST registered, that would not be applicable. You can also say that you purchase products for this service from a supplier, and that would be if you're doing an inventory one. So let's do that next. So we're going to do an inventory. So part of events, we might be supplying the lighting. And we'll say, no, there's no initial code. And this is where you would keep an eye on your stock as well. So we could say what's, as of the dates, we'll just use today, and alert, perhaps a stock alert. So what's a low stock to have? Maybe it's 5. So it'll go to your inventory asset account, and your income account will be, oh, it's not giving us your product. You can have different ones set up in your chart of accounts ready for that. And we could say lighting there. Again, you would choose the tax category. And here you'll see you'll be able to also tell it where it goes for the expense account. So, of course, because we haven't got it all set up on the chart of accounts, we'll just use cost of sales. And we'll save and close. So because we haven't got anything in there, it's telling us that it's out of stock. We can also do a bundle. So how that works is we might do events with lighting. Event with lighting. And we'll choose events on one, and we'll choose lighting on the other. A bit hard to read, isn't it? And then we'll save and close. So that's our bundle. Okay, so that's to set up a product and service. It depends on how complicated your business is as to how much you're going to need in here. As you can see, this one's quite complicated. But the next stage you'll need to do is add in your customers. So to add a new customer, we go to customer and new customer. And you'll put in their name, Mary Smith, and her company name might be Hurrah Events. Now we can display the name as Mary Smith, or we can display it as Hurrah Events. Then we go through the billing information, Mary at hurrahevents.com.au, her mobile, and the shipping address as well. If you save that, then Mary's going to do her first invoice. So once you're in customers, which we'll just go back to one. Once you're in customers, you can actually find Mary here in the find a customer. So we'll find Mary with Mary Smith, and you'll see that Hurrah Events comes up. And we'll go new transaction and invoice. Now we're going to do both events and get paid faster with PayPal. Events, or we could do events with lighting, and you can see how that comes up there. In this case, we might just choose events to keep it simple. And again, if it was a set amount, you could have that in here and you could just change the rate. So if there was 2 and the set amount was 50, then it will come through. Now, always watch the amounts of tax inclusive of tax. If you've quoted plus GST, you want to make sure that this is exclusive of tax. That means your rate, when you add it in for 50, will add the tax on and make it 55. So always be careful when you're quoting to make sure you either quote inclusive of tax or exclusive of tax, and remember that when you're issuing your invoice. Now we can see what the invoice looks like if you press on print or preview, and we can have a look and make sure that everything's on there, and we can see what that wonderful invoice we've created, how that's come out. And you can see on this style of the invoice, and you can either print, or the easiest thing when you have their email address is to save and send. And of course, we know that Mary at Hurrah Events is only made up, so probably won't send that, but send and close will deliver that to Mary. And again, you can see that this is a busy little file with quite a few things in here, which is good. And I'm just going to take you over to banking and see what it would look like if Mary had been paid. So in this one, we've got Bank Any City, and they've paid an invoice. So here we've got the bank feeds, which we'll go through in a moment. But what we can do with the invoice is say, okay, this is Bank Any City. They've paid this invoice, and it's matched it to it. So that's paid there. We'll save, and it's gone. It's matched. All right, so we'll leave that for sales. So that's how to receive. Another way to receive payments is if we go back to Hurrah Events, and we'll receive a payment. And always watch what's happening. So there's the bank accounts for this. You can also have other accounts set up, such as a clearing account. So if you have received something by cash or check, you may like to put it to a clearing account and then clear it to the bank account when it's come through. In this case, we'll put it to the everyday business account and say that they've received $55 from Mary for Hurrah Events, and we'll save and close. So when we come back to Mary, it's all paid, it's done, it's finished. We can also have other options. Mary can make a quote, tell them how much it's going to be. Again, save and send, much like the invoice. We'll do this one and we'll do it to lighting. For the quote, you'll send it. Again, we'll say exclusive of GST, add the GST at the end, and we're going to save and close that. Now, when the quote is here, we can then go into it and click on the little more button. No, we can't. We'll go out of it and we'll start the invoice. So now we've made an invoice from that quote. So Mary's accepted it. She said, yes, thank you very much. Happy to pay that. And now we're going to make an invoice from the quote. The other things that you'll do in there, you can send Mary a statement and tell her how that's going. So we'll say item, and we'll apply it for today. And again, we'll print preview, and we'll see there that Mary still owes that latest invoice for $55. So that's a statement. You can send that to the email address. And also, you, just in regards to statements, it can work, and in certain circumstances, some businesses hold off till they get a statement, but I suggest that you phone them rather than send statements to make sure that they've received the invoice to start with. Okay, so then we have the adjustment note too, but we won't worry about that today. The last thing I want to show you in regards to the sales invoices is knowing who's owing you. It's fun to do all this work, but it's even better to get paid for it. So we want to see how much, who's owing what. So you can come over to here in reports, under all reports, and manage accounts receivable, and pull up a customer detail list. Now if we do that for today's date, or at today's date, we'll use Hurrah Events will be there. That's their lighting invoice that we've done. And of course we can see that there's many others here as well. And it's really good to ensure that you do your banking at least every week or fortnight, depending on what your pay to your terms for invoices are. Go and have a look at this report, and whoever's not paid you after you've done your banking, after you've put all the receipts in, then it's time to call them and say, okay, Jordan, this is now the 7th of June, no, the 6th of July. Why hasn't this invoice been paid? So that is a really, really important report, and that is why we are in an accounting software such as QuickBooks Online, because you can have this up-to-date information and look at how much money these people are missing out on. So always be staying on top of your debtors, and always be looking at this report and keeping your accounts up to date. Okay. The other report you can have is also the customer balance summary, which gives it in summary and doesn't necessarily show you in detail which invoices are outstanding. So that's another one you can choose as well. The beauty about QuickBooks Online is, going back to the customer balance detail, you can also save this customization so that you don't have to, you don't always have to come to look in here. You can just come to My Custom Reports and you'll see the customer balance detail ready to go. All right, that's probably enough information for this one on the subject of sales. Always remember to bring the money in. Thank you.